Hello, everybody, and welcome to another adventure into super awesome science and mysteries. Brett is here with me from Fight the Fear podcast
What's up?
and his Jedi Cantina. Um, Brett, what kind of alien are you? Are you really a lizard person?
Only on Thursdays after a couple
Yeah.
drinks.
I might be a gray
Then I
alien.
put the
according
suit
to
back
this.
on and I'm good.
Oh, you wear a skin suit, huh?
Yes. Alien person, I have to.
Yeah. Mine works with telepathy. I trick your brain into thinking you're seeing a human.
Okay.
Well, anyways, yes, we are here to talk about aliens and what's going on today in the news, and we also want to hit on there's some credible, I guess, footage that people are questioning. I don't want to say like it's credible or not, but that has come up in the last few weeks that I think was interesting, and I think we should take a look at together. I think that would be fun. And then I want to get a little bit into Three Eye Atlas.
Yep.
Supposedly they are on their way to us right now. There is a big ship or something on its way to us, and I'd like to discuss what you think that is, or it could just be a comet. We don't know.
I've got a little blurb to
Yeah.
read for that to kind of get us going on that.
So that'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me play this clip for you, because what I really want to start out the show with, I want to know. Gap's like, nope, you just said it was credible.
Gap, lady stuff, geek strong.
He's
What's up?
like, yeah. So for first, I guess we'll say hi to everybody in
Toasty.
the chat. Chris was here right away.
He was
Aliens. And there is a link at the top if you guys want to, if anybody does want to join us and discuss. There should be a pinned link at the top. But yes, Gap is here. Hello, all.
Yep.
Geek Strong is here. Hey, everyone, still at work but listening. Lady Steph. Hey, Gap, Dino, John, and Brett.
Hello.
It's the planet destroyer from Star Trek, the original series. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Borg.
But I wanna go over this. I want to talk about the what we've been seeing with these in the news lately, and these whistleblowers. I want to talk about some of these because I want to know your take on whistleblowers and things. Like, do you think that they are telling the truth, or do you think they have another motive? TJ's here. How do you see it? Good to see you, Terry. TJC is here.
I can say, like, as far as the whistleblower angle from a lot of these things, it's a big way for us to get information about a lot of things. Bob Lazar was a whistleblower.
Yeah. Hey, Rolando, how you doing?
And a lot of people did not lend him much credibility, and he continued to give what a lot of people thought was proof of what he was saying was out there.
Yeah.
So
what I find fascinating about Bob Lazar, if anyone doesn't know, Bob Lazar came forward, I want to say either 84 or 86, somewhere
80s,
somewhere in the mid to late 80s. And he said, I worked at a place called S4, which is just south of Area 51. And it was essentially the first time that Area 51 was in the news. So that no one knew what Area 51 was. No one knew what S4 was at the time. And he said there were hand scanners inside the place where I would put my palm on it. It would read my palm and know that it was me to get clearance to go into these rooms. He said he worked on 9 different flying saucers. And the main one that he worked on was what they nicknamed the sport model. And it worked with some kind of anti-gravity and gravity bending engines.
Sport models are usually cheaper too. So.
Yeah. So and it worked with an element called element 115, and he gave all these details, and everyone thought it was complete bullshit back in the day. They thought it was just totally, and they wanted to discredit him. They couldn't find that he worked at certain places. But then through the years, someone who worked there had one of their old phone books, and they found Bob Lazar in their phone book
Mm-hmm.
that was internal to that place of business, that work, that so they knew that he had worked there because they had him written down with a phone number in office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the basically that it proved that the government wiped his credentials after he came forward. You know what I mean? And other people who had worked there said they worked with him. They remember him there, you know. So a lot of people came forward to try and verify it through the years. And then through the years we found out that hand scanners were real. And now we see them even in corporate places where they have thumbprint scans or any other kind of things like that. The exact devices he described ended up showing up in the public years later. The government finally came forward and said Area 51 existed. S4 is a real place. And recently, science discovered element 115,
Well,
and
that's
that
what
it's
I
a
was
real
going to say
element.
too, was that regardless if you believed him or not, he opened the floodgate on this place called Area 51 that people didn't know about. So if you just want to, say that it's simply a place for military experimental aircraft and it's a good place to test because it's in the desert and it's a good location to keep us away from enemies, and that's very sensible, right?
Yeah,
Regardless of what he's saying was going on, regardless of whether or not someone wants to believe it, it exists. It is,
yeah,
and he brought it to light. So now it's out there. So that to me, a whistleblower.
yeah,
There's some truth there. There's some mystery there. And I do think there's copycats. There's people that want in on that. But a lot of our urban legends and myths and things that we later on seem to find some credible pieces of, like Montauk,
yeah,
and different things like that. The what was it, the Soylent Green, and all these different types of things going on. There's always a whistleblower that says, "Man, I can't do this anymore. I just can't justify doing this. I don't think I was here for this purpose. They're using my piece of this puzzle in a way that I didn't expect and I don't appreciate. I need to get out." Well, what happens when you do that? You can't get work. You can't
yeah,
continue your research. You're constantly blocked. You're in danger, basically, or you can just go work in a gas station and scrape by because you're not going to be able to do what you wanted to do. The life of a whistleblower could be pretty dark sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Where's area 1 through 50? I don't know. I don't.
It could also be a plot of land.
Yeah,
Could have been simple as saying, uh, this secret
just
government entity that buys real estate.
it held 51
It
acres
was
or
going to buy
something.
51 acres or
Yeah, who
plot
knows?
51 or whatever it was. Hey,
Yeah,
Area 51. And think
but
about it. Strategically, it's a great spot in our
oh yeah,
country
yeah,
to,
yeah.
to do whatever we want to do out there. Aircraft, rockets, different things. I mean, we were dropping nukes on our own people out in the desert.
Oh, I know.
Our
Yeah.
enemies
Well,
can't see it, they can't get to it. So it makes sense on that
yeah.
part
Until
of
we
it.
have like satellites like
What else
nowadays.
is going on underground and in those bunkers is we can only rely on the information given to us from the whistleblowers. So
But one of the things that I was going to say about the Bob Lazar in particular and whistleblowers in general, if I were to give you a list of 100 things that Bob Lazar said, or any whistleblower, like, and you start going down the list and checking off which
mhm.
ones are true, and you find that 99 out of 100, like with Bob Lazar, 99 of the things that he said are true, ended up becoming true as years went on. In the beginning, in the 80s, people thought only one of the things that he said might be possibly be true.
Yeah.
But through the years, we've checked off all those boxes and realized that they've proven every single thing that he said, except for one thing. The last thing is that it was alien technology not from Earth. So my question to everybody is, if he says 100 things and 99 of them are proven to be true, even some of the outlandish ones, like hand scanners at the time, were considered science fiction. Element 115 was science fiction. There was no way that existed. That could never exist
Right.
according to the 80s, because that element is would be so unstable. There's no way it should exist. But
Mhm.
yet now we have it, and we have it in labs. And so if everything comes true, then in 99 of them, those boxes are checked. And the last box is aliens are real. Wouldn't you just think by default that's also got to be true? Like, if everything else someone said is proven to be true, why would you think he'd lie about one thing? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's the last
You
thing.
just as a average Joe walking around every day, you want them to just say, here it is, lay it out, show us.
Yeah,
If there's something the government or the military could gain from it, they're not going to do that. They don't want the
they don't want,
possibility
yeah.
of their enemies seeing this technology and trying to get
Or
their hands on
knowing,
it.
I don't think they want to know how far we've reverse
Exactly.
engineered it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or what we're working on with it.
Right.
But let's play this and see what you think about these guys that have come forward.
No audio, bud.
What?
No audio. It's
Oh,
not
you
playing.
can't hear this?
No, it's not playing the audio. Nobody else can either.
Why is that the case?
I don't know. Might have it muted, maybe. That guy definitely wasn't Skinny Bob. I think they have a tab, like when you share it, it says if you want the audio on or not. The government is muting you. They're getting us, man. We mentioned
Yeah, they
Lazar.
are. Yeah.
Shit. What's the gist of what these guys are throwing down there for us?
It's just that it's absolutely real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Okay. Is that showing it?
We see your files.
You don't see the video.
No. Dino said if the government told us there was aliens, there would be mass hysteria, dogs and cats living together. Don't leave out lizards and birds. I like to place my palm to scan. I scanned my palm up. My Alexa's acting up across the room. See, now we're starting something here. Something's going on.
Why if I share screen is it not sharing that? Yeah, they don't want us to want us to see this.
If you have that video
so
on
when I played the
somewhere, you could share it.
When I played the intro, there was no sound on that either then?
I don't think so.
Because I played the intro the same way I played
I think
this.
when you're playing videos off of files, it has
Do I have to play it this way? Video file. Hold on.
I think you have to upload it to them to let them.
You can't anymore.
Yeah, see? That's why I quit. That's why I quit using it. That's another reason.
Yeah,
if you pull up one of those clips off of the web though and just share it from that
Extraordinary as
web,
the story seems, the
is.
subject is not new. The Air Force and other agencies, as well as governments around the world, have been documenting close encounters of the third kind. Reports of interactions with non-human intelligence since at least the 1940s.
They appear to be rational and believable.
You're telling me people have come forward behind the scenes, claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin.
That's correct. They have.
You know, I've always tried to keep an open mind, and I really believe it's all about the data. I'm very empirical, and I'm not going to take a conclusive position on this until there is absolute conclusive proof. But at this point, together with some other sources, I started to think, oh my God, it's really true.
But the revelation that there's other life out there, that should be something for everybody. That's the way I feel.
Non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
We have, let's say, sources. We have individuals, people, who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals, and that there is a crash retrieval effort that has spanned a significant period of time since the end of the Second World War.
So the question becomes, all of these people that, like what you just saw, like a lot of them are from two documentaries here, and I want to highlight the program. This is on Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now, and it's a great documentary on this stuff, and it shows a lot of the whistleblower testimony and things like that. And then the other one is called the Battle for Disclosure here, and they are incredible documentaries. Both of them are really worth watching if you have any interest at all in this subject matter. And they get into the whistleblowers and what's been coming forward, and why, and what these, like, military aviators and other people are seeing out there, like people who are in the Navy and they're flying off the coast doing exercises and they're running into these things. They cover like people who are on airplanes and seeing like things out the window. Like there was one very recently where someone caught a disc thing outside their window flying by as they were filming outside their window when they were running a regular air flight. And then they also talk about like stuff that have been seen from people who are like stuff hovering over airports and things. And it's like, these people aren't idiots, people who work for air traffic control and fly our airplanes and stuff and work in the Navy. They're not idiots. They're not seeing a blimp or something like a balloon or, a cloud or weather phenomenon and thinking like, oh my God, that must be an alien ship. They're like, you know what I mean? They're credible people that know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like they've been trained. Some of these military guys could tell you that an airplane based on the silhouette from like 2 miles away. And they know every aircraft that's been in the sky from the World War II on up to today. You know what I mean? These guys are trained to know when they see a silhouette what it is, so they know how to engage with it. And if they see something that they don't recognize and they're like, it doesn't have any wings, it doesn't have any propulsion, why would you not believe them? You know what I mean? Like, why would you think that they're making shit up or they just misidentified something? It blows my mind, What do you think?
I was giving Dean the referee blows the whistle and says illegal brothering, 10 yards, the play will stand. They're down. Well, let's go back, a year? They had this sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, thing with Congress, and they had military people testifying. Was it a year ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah. They had a
fresh testimony from the top military guys saying, I was on this base, I was flying in this plane, I was in this control tower, I was doing this, I was looking at radar, all these different guys saying all these different things. And I saw something that was of not human origin. And another guy, these things would regularly fly by us. Another guy, this flew across our base. Another guy. Top military. Why would you dedicate your life to service for your country in the military? You become decorated, you become an officer, you go through all of the steps, you play it by the book, right? There is nothing. They have to do mental evaluations. You are not a loon, you are not crazy.
Yeah.
You are considered the upper echelon of our citizens, and you are expected to, behave in a certain way and carry yourself a certain way. Why on earth would you be the person to get in front of your Congress, who you would hold in such esteem and respect, just the highest level, and say to them, I did see a little green man, and expect people to say bullshit? You have to, this has to be the one type of person that you could say, okay,
Hello.
I think there's some proof here.
Yeah.
Hi,
Gary.
Gary comes in with
countless
tinfoil hat.
times.
Gary, while you're in the kitchen there, I'll take mine with double cheese, please.
I just escaped the mothership. The only thing that saved me was this hat that I fashioned.
He's blowing the whistle. Oh shit!
Well, Gary, we just showed a clip from a show that I have called. There's a show on Amazon. One of the ones was a show called The Program.
Okay.
And the other show was The Program is on Amazon. It's a good one to watch. And the other one was a one called Battle for Disclosure on Prime. And they're both really good. They're both really good documentaries on what's recently going on. And they show a lot of the whistleblowers and additional whistleblower testimony to what we saw when they sat before Congress. And some of these guys are as high up as working in the Department of Defense, the Secretary of the military, things like that. So, like, why we're trying to say, like, if these people aren't telling the truth or they're misidentifying stuff, why would you risk your reputation and career to come forward and sit in front of Congress and say these things under oath if they weren't true?
Right. And why, I guess you guys have already probably talked about this, then why wouldn't the government just tell us for fear of a mass panic? Like,
well, that's what we're getting towards. Like, what do you think? Do you think, A, do you think these guys are telling the truth? And B, if they are, why is there a section of the government that's fighting against this thing? And why won't they come clean?
And also keep in mind, too, that interwoven into some of these stories and reports is probably actual military test flights and other things that get mistaken for these things. And they'd rather not try to explain it away. They'd rather let it roll, Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, John, 10 sightings. Maybe 2 of those sightings were something the military was doing at night. Oh, and it just happened to get mixed in with the other 8.
Yeah.
They're not going to differentiate and tell you because they don't want the enemy to know.
Yeah, they don't want them to know what our capabilities are. Yeah. And like somebody said too, like, why couldn't the government come clean and at least say, yes, we've had crash retrievals and things that we think are of like non-human origin.
Right.
Like, and we have collected some samples, but we're not going to tell you what we're doing with that stuff because what we're doing with it affects national security. But the knowledge that they exist doesn't affect national security. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you could differentiate that, you know what I mean? If you were the government, you could say, okay, we're going to acknowledge that things are happening, but we're not going to tell you what we're doing with it because that part, and if we do reverse engineer it, that part is national security and will help with our national defense.
Well, you can bet that's what they're trying. If we do have stuff, that's what they're trying to do when they're trying to use it for our benefit,
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, reverse engineer stuff. And if they came clean and said, yeah, we've had this, if Area 51, everything you've heard is, it's true. Guess what? And we've got, a body in stasis or whatever, wherever that, we recovered, people would freak out. People would freak out. And then they'd get mad. Then they'd get mad at the government for not telling us all along. There's really nothing they could do now but keep up the front of, we don't know what it is. That's I guess you guys have already covered that. I personally believe there's life out there. I just can't believe the universe is as big as it is. It's not something else. I would love to see something myself, and of course I would also hope we get, if we get visited, we get ET and not, Independence Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what everybody wants, or xenomorphs. I want, here's some
A
CNN
shorter
M&Ms.
version of myself shows up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we start falling asleep and
Hey, how'd you lose all that weight?
You look great.
We only eat worms. Ah, crap. I gotta eat good
What
stuff
was that
now.
that Twilight Zone, To Serve Man?
Yes, yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah, that was a great
Dino
one.
and I were just talking about that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cookbook. Oh.
Well, along those lines of discussing whether or not they exist or have been here, we got this video I'd like to show you, because it's been in the news lately. What I'm going to give you some background on this before I play it. So what it was is that apparently back in the days of Eisenhower, okay, there's a story that was going around that one day he was on a golf trip playing golf, and in the middle of the trip he gets a secret serviceman or someone comes up to him, military, and says, we have to take you now, you have to go now. And he leaves in the middle of the golf trip and disappeared for a day. And the story goes, they told the public and the people he was playing golf with that the president had a toothache and had to get emergency surgery and take care of this tooth. But there's no dental record in the government's files. In his own personal records, he never had surgery on his mouth or had anything to do with his teeth, especially during that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And the story goes that he was rushed away because the ship was landing at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, or Holland Air Force Base, or Holloman Air Force Base is what it's called. Holloman, I think it is. It lands at Holloman Air Force Base, and there's a guy who got video of it. One of his people videotaped the ship landing, and that video has been released, and at least clips of it, but it looks really bad and terrible, and it's like there's almost no question that footage is probably faked, and
right.
It's not the real footage. But supposedly there is real footage out there somewhere.
How is it that we can take 4K videos with our phones, and then these people that see other stuff out there, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, UFOs, it's the worst footage possible.
Yeah.
I just commented to John that if the footage comes through crystal clear like that, I don't trust it.
Yeah, then you don't trust it even
look
more.
Like it was filmed with a potato.
Yeah. But anyway, so like the story goes that during that landing, he met some aliens and he made a treaty with them, or they asked for a treaty, and one of the aliens stayed behind and was available for questioning and talking, and someone took this video during that Eisenhower thing, and it's filmed on like 16 millimeter film. Silent, there's no audio for this particular clip that was, and then about 15 or 20 years ago, this clip that I'm going to play you was smuggled out of the government and leaked to the public. And all of the best guys in Hollywood said that at the time when this was, both the time when this was leaked, which was 15, 20 years ago, so this is not AI, it's not a deep fake. It's not AI. It's none of that stuff. They felt as though they could not recreate this video. And then they said, especially if it's a video from Eisenhower's time period. So not only could they not reproduce it 20 years ago, they also would not have been able to reproduce it if it's truly from Eisenhower's era. So everyone's always questioned what it is, and now because of 3i Atlas, this footage is circulating again, and people are trying to find more information about it. So let me play this for you and see what you think. It's a silent clip.
All right. I'd like to know what the terms of this treaty would be. Why would we? Oh, that was used that on the thumbnail. Okay, yeah.
But the way that he moves, every bit of movement, the wrinkles on his head, the way his arms and stuff move, the way he hangs and he's leaning to one side, like everything about it, they're like, if this is a puppet,
Yeah.
it's the greatest puppet animatronic ever created. Do you know what I mean? They were like,
Definitely not an outtake from Dean's last visit to Spirit Halloween
For a
store.
popcorn bucket.
yeah. And this lens is supposedly a lens that he was wearing, and he took it off. And that lens, whatever computer thing is on it, allowed him to see in multiple spectrums of light by just blinking, and he could switch into like infrared or ultraviolet or regular visible light, you know, things
like
like
the
that.
Predator when he does that.
And supposedly they left one of these lenses for us to study, and that's how we got night vision. So we learned about lens technology from the aliens and stuff. So it's interesting. Like, to me, it's interesting that, like, this thing, it really looks like a gray alien.
Where are they?
Know?
Like, what is this room even? I'm looking at the background. Like, what?
He's supposed to be in a room at Holloman Air Force Base. Yeah.
You know what the problem is with this footage is, you could say, well, it looks digitized, it looks fake, but here's the thing. We've already been subjected to so much of that through video games and other media, that by the time we do see a 100% true piece of footage, we're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
We're going to be so desensitized. And maybe in some ways that's like, you'd be a little more prepared for it, you know?
And the weird thing about this is that, you know, number one, this was leaked 15 to 20 years ago. So it was before we really had any good computer animated technology. So it would have had to have been a film of a puppet if it was faked.
Right.
And
where's the rest of it?
Well, supposedly the rest of the because they did a full interview with this with this alien, and they share knowledge with it, and that footage has never been leaked, but supposedly it exists. You know,
did they describe how they communicated, or was it, you know?
Yeah, he had a box. He actually had like a box, and the box that they set on the table translated his language into English. So English came out of the box.
So he brought,
it was like almost like he brought a universal translator with him.
Right. That's what I was.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, and I touched on earlier. What would be the terms of such a treaty? Because what did we have to offer them?
Well,
besides anonymity.
Do you want to know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what I've heard. So according to the legend, you know, with Eisenhower and all that. So we can stop that. So the legend goes that, so that Gray, after this interview and talking with them and sharing stuff and allowing him to be filmed, he basically got back on the ship and flew away. So they were only there for a day in a sense. So the thing was that supposedly, and this could very well be why a lot of this stuff remains secret and classified, because if this part was,
I'm going to put this back on. You keep this up.
Yeah, you can. What if this part of it is true and the government comes clean, then you're probably going to hate your government. Like there's a portion out there who will be like, you freaking
wait for that.
A-holes,
that ship's already sailed, I'm pretty sure. You know.
Yeah, but it's going to be like real reason to like go after these guys, because supposedly the treaty was, we will give you technology, so they're going to give us a ship or something that we can reverse engineer, and technology like they supposedly gave us that lens, and they were like, and fiber optics and other things, integrated circuits like the level that we have and things like that. Like a lot of these things took a jump in sophistication throughout the 50s and 60s and into today. So they'd give us this technology, but what we're giving the aliens, those Greys, is access to us. The story goes that he signed an agreement saying you are allowed to abduct a certain number of people and run tests on them as long as you do two things. You return the people to Earth unharmed, and number two, you tell us, the government, a list of every person you've taken and for how long you've taken them and why. So the trade-off was allowing them to basically experiment on us and take studies of us, abduct us,
Again, what's that
Ford-
like? Fire in the
Ford-
sky type of abduction? Remember that?
Yeah.
That guy had
Yeah,
zero
I
fun.
don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like
I don't know. Wow.
so I could understand if that is true and there really was a treaty saying we'll give you a certain number of the population in exchange for technology. Those people are going to be pissed that got abducted. They're going to be like, "Screw you guys!"
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Why is
Like,
it taking us so long, and all we get out of it was night vision goggles and something else? I mean, how
yeah,
come
we
couldn't-
haven't figured out anti-gravity. Yeah, of course.
That's what
You
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean?
We could,
Yeah,
put that into the space program and just say we came up with it or whatever. Finally, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We haven't. So I don't know.
you met the Vulcans. Yeah,
He met the Vulcans. Yeah, people are.
yeah. I've seen
There's
that.
not
over
Vulcan
Mexico.
around.
Yeah,
Right? Are you a Vulcan mind?
yeah. I think the alien autopsy film was proven to be fake. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Team.
Tell me if this comes through.
Yeah, we heard that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
hang
well,
on. I got something else for you. Hold on.
All right, cool.
I gotta find it.
would people even know though? Yeah, you're right. Right? Would
Here,
anyone even
I
know?
wrote a song. I wrote a song real quick on AI
Oh,
for you
good.
guys.
There's always time for a song.
Check this out.
Can hardly hear it.
Yeah, you turned it down.
Turn the volume up, Brett.
Better?
No.
This is my shining hot sun.
I don't hear it.
Set to make impact and tell of some dirt. Maybe it will smash into the moon.
Says a rock is heading towards Earth, set to make impact and tear up some dirt. Maybe it will smash into the moon. Maybe it will end up in my living room. I don't know what to make of it. They say it's a shiny rock. It can suck my rock and roll all night long. This is my shiny rock song.
Well, speaking of 3i Atlas, maybe is this a good time to get
Yeah.
into it?
I got a little
Yeah.
blurb. Give me a minute here. I got a couple things to read. So an overview of what the 3AI Atlas is a mysterious interstellar object, potentially a comet or could be a dust cloud, surrounding a smaller object, is currently passing through our solar system. Designated 3I Atlas, it was first detected by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile and is notable for its unusual trajectory aligned with the Earth's orbital plane and its close approach to several planets. While it's not expected to impact Earth, its arrival and trajectory are being closely monitored. But here's things to look for. Its interstellar origin makes this the third only ever known object from outside our solar system to enter our solar system. Its path is aligned with the ecliptic plane, the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun, which is a highly unlikely occurrence by chance. And it's either a small object of less than a kilometer surrounded by a dust cloud or a larger object around 20 kilometers with a reflective surface. Earth even guesses up to 1,000 kilometers.
Wow.
It will make close passes by Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, in addition to its closest approach to the sun, which will occur when Earth is on the opposite side. Despite the unusual characteristics, there is no current risk of impact with Earth. Astronomers are actively observing 3I Atlas to better understand its nature and trajectory. And when it said that thing about on Earth's
like matching
the plane, that's what's got people concerned, thinking it's under control.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no likelihood that it could just randomly do this.
And what's the timetable for when it passes by?
It's been from October to December. Now they've got it narrowed down to November 13th to December 30th or somewhere in there.
Okay.
They're getting it narrower and narrower as they get more
closer.
information. And so they'll be able to almost give you almost to the day, kind of like when they watch for the comets showers and things,
right?
Showers and things like that. They can get it dialed in, but it's just like the more you follow this type of thing, the more things come up in your feeds on your different platforms.
Yeah.
The more clickbaity it gets, It's
Right,
like, oh,
right.
they're aiming for us. It's coming. It's heading for impact. It's like impact is imminent. It's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, if they did show up and they had something to tell us, I hope they would just tell us, hey guys,
Well-
you're screwing up, and here's a can of Campbell's soup from the future that'll sustain your Earth for another 3 billion years.
Well, I don't think we have giant arcs sitting somewhere for all the scientists and whatever people to get on, or some kind of facility inside of a mountain that's not for all of the people that are going to be spared. I'm not making that list. My phone's not ringing. What was the what was the name of that? I can't remember that movie now. What's it?
2012.
The kid discovered the asteroid and they named it after him.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, what was the one with John Cusack? Was it 2012?
Yeah, that was 2012.
Probably,
That was his.
Yeah.
What's the name of the one I'm thinking of?
That one
Chad.
had the arc ship.
Deep Impact.
Nope,
That was the
Bruce
one
Willis.
with Favreau, right? And
That
Bruce
was
Willis.
the other one. Yeah.
no, that was Armageddon.
Oh, Armageddon. I'm sorry.
Armageddon
Deep
was
Impact was Favreau. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the scientific answers, and it's like very sensible what it's saying. Like, okay, cool. But then there's those little things that creep in where they say, well it's shiny.
Well, the thing is that the professor, Dr. Avi Loeb at Harvard, he's physics and astronomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he looked first at Oumuamua when that came through, and he said the thing is that there's no doubt when you look at it, Oumuamua changed direction without gravitational impact, meaning that like it was in open space when it changed direction.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't near something that had gravitational effect on it to pull it one way or the other.
Bounced it or whatever. Yeah.
It changed on its own. So an asteroid or meteor does not change direction on its own. So he said, and then also it sped up when it was
an
leaving.
alien just passed through my trajectory.
Wow. Yeah. Be careful, Brad. Be careful.
It also sped up when it was leaving. So when something is moving towards a gravitational body like the planet or the sun, it can speed up by the pull of that gravity. And we know by our calculations how much that is. And the first thing is as it came closer, it sped up too much and then it slowed down. And then secondly, when it was leaving, when it went around the sun and was going out of our solar system, it sped up again. And when something is leaving a gravitational pull, it shouldn't speed up. It shouldn't gain momentum. You know what I mean?
Free of
until it's free of the pull of gravity, or even if it, so he basically argued that Oumuamua was a probe of some kind. And now he's once again in the news arguing that this thing could be the ship that probe came from.
Oh, isn't it possible?
And part of it is because it's coming in on that orbital plane, and to hit that orbital plane so perfectly, like it's doing, like if you were off by when you entered the solar system, if you were off by millimeters in your calculation, just millimeters, you wouldn't hit the gravitational plane of our solar system. So it's a precise calculation to hit that plane. That's so precise that nature almost can't do it on like just happenstance. It seems like it's got to be it's the way that we calculate when we send satellites and probes to other planets. It's that precise. So there's calculation behind this thing that's coming towards us. And the other side of it too was the way that it's going around the sun is that it's a way that blocks observation from Earth of it, but allows it to have a good view of our planet as it goes by. So you could argue that it's a mothership coming in to take another pass, and when they get around behind the sun where we can't view it, they're going to open up their sensors and take a look back at Earth. And if they find something interesting when they circle back around the sun, they're not going to be heading out of our solar system. It'll be coming toward us again, because then they'll change direction.
Maybe they've already sent a probe that we don't know about.
Well, he thinks the probe was a Oumuamua that came by a few years ago.
And then they said, okay, let's take a closer look. We think
now we'll redirect the mothership to go in that solar system and take a closer look.
We couldn't defend ourselves from an attack from out of our atmosphere. There's no way.
No, yeah.
So once they figured that out, they're like, okay, we can approach. We've got the high ground, so let's pull up.
Would it be possible? The thing you were talking about, Brett, the dust cloud, that could be something metallic inside of it. Isn't it possible too that a meteor or something from space would be made of some kind of mineral that would make it appear metallic?
And it could be large enough to have its own sort of gravitational field or atmosphere around it that holds that with it.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. Like I said, I've heard estimates of it being way larger than what that just said. So
right.
But you know what would really suck is if this thing did zip by and we did clearly see that it was a craft, and they didn't stop to
ignored us.
They ignored us.
They just went by doing this.
We somehow see it in our telescopes, and everybody's like, "Holy crap! It was a ship!" But
the whole time,
But the other side of this is, I wanna bring up something which they also bring up in. I think it's the Fight for Disclosure one, the Battle for Disclosure one. They briefly touch on it where Stephen Greer and Jeremy Corbell and a few other people have said in the past, years ago, that, and this isn't a new notion. This is something that first came up like way back. They were like, right now we're fighting. It was way back when we were fighting Russia in the Cold War. Someone came forward and said there's a long-term government plan, and the plan is going to be that right now our enemy is communists and the Russians, and it said then down the road we're gonna have to change and not be fighting other nations, and we're going to fight terrorists, and their plan is to go after a group of terrorists, and then down the road from that, it won't be nation states or idealism that we're fighting. It'll actually be a faked alien attack.
A faked one. And this fake thing, this whole thing that they basically alluded to, like the terrorist thing was going to be partially made up, and then the alien thing is completely made up. And they said we'll also have a thing with a pandemic that's going to happen. So they're going to be testing, like keeping people indoors. And this was told back in like the 60s and 70s, and then people have reiterated it in recent times, because sure enough, we went from communism to fighting terrorists to now be talking about aliens. And we did have a pandemic with a lockdown, like they said back that they predicted back then. So these guys that predicted that stuff have basically, it all has come true, except for the last part with the aliens. And now we got this thing coming in. Is this project, and they nicknamed it Project Bluebeam. And is this Project Bluebeam in action, this thing coming into our solar system? Like, as it gets closer, are they going to come out and finally say, this thing is aliens and they're hostile and we have to come together? It was all supposedly a plot to get the world to come together under one organized unit. Even if we made that decision tomorrow, what could we really do? What could we really do besides wait for them to do attack whatever they're going to, launch whatever or release?
Brett's asking that question right now. What can I really do to get myself back in focus?
Oh, they've blurred me.
Yeah, they've blurred Brett.
By. I can't get the stupid thing it's not.
That's
tracking.
Funny. What happened? Yeah.
Netflix has the series. It's called Resident Alien.
Yeah. They just finished a couple weeks ago. It was good. The final episode. I think that was the final episode.
That's the Alan Tudyk show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think, like, I think that this is just going to end up being a big rock, and I think deep down I really think that Oumuamua was just a rock. Yeah. I sure would like it to be aliens. I love the idea and the story that Oumuamua was a probe, and the mothership got the data and said, let's change course and check this out. And now they're coming in on the plane. And when they get close and they go around the sun, when they turn on all their instruments, because apparently on the approach, when they come to close to us and go by Venus, the theory goes that if they turned on their instruments and started looking at Earth, we would detect those signals and see clearly that it's an alien mothership. So
Right.
the theory from Avi Loeb is that if they were on the other side of the sun blocks our current technology of instruments to be able for us to get a clear view of the ship when they turn on their sensors and can look back, supposedly that they're more advanced, they would know how to correct for the interference from the sun and everything that we don't have that correction yet in our technology. They could see us without us seeing them. And then if they deem us worthy, they could loop around the sun and come in, change course again, come in and visit us. Now, if they don't, they'll just keep going out into space and we'll just think it's a rock, But I'd
What
like
if it
to
was the
believe
rock?
I'd like to believe that, maybe this is a ship, I think it'd be cool.
It would be cool, but I don't know.
But again, if it's Project Bluebeam, they're going to make us think that ship is coming in to do us harm in the goal to get, the countries of Earth that are not playing ball to sort of come together and have a unified front towards this threat that's outside our solar system.
With that misdirection to get control, if they were to say, give up some rights or whatever and we'll protect you, I think people are so numb to this type of thing now through media and other things. Like, it's okay. We'll take our chance.
Well, yeah.
I think it's kind of like that's an old, like when they started Bluebeam, it was a great idea. Now it's kind of like, whoops, I guess we missed the boat. We should have done it like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Because now with AI and all this other stuff going on, people are like, I saw it on TV last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
But I don't. But I mean, like, I think that the aliens. The weird thing about it is I don't think you could just see them in the sky, and people would panic enough to want to give up their sovereign rights and join a unified Earth. I think you'd have to have serious damage, and I'm talking like entire cities, like blown away.
Yeah,
and they blame it, and they blame it on the aliens. You
don't think if ships just showed up and just hovered where we could see them and didn't do anything, or maybe they're scanning, whatever, people would lose their shit. They would go crazy. It would be. Besides the panic, you think they go crazy now when there's, like, I live in Northern Virginia. People lose their friggin' minds when there's a talk about 2 inches of snow. And they're racing to the boards.
I was just down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they said, all right, there's a ship just sitting there. It's not doing anything. Nothing's coming down. No, it's just, there it is. It would be ridiculous panic. Ridiculous. People would stop paying their bills. And head for the hills.
Like my wife, when there's a tornado, we're in the Midwest. What does she do? The Midwestern thing. She goes out in the driveway. I'm like, get in the freaking house.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about that. Like what I mean is that I think the goal of Project Bluebeam is to get China and Russia and Iran and North Korea to be like, okay, we're going to give up. There's going to be no more borders, and we're going to have one unified Earth under control of one government. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't think if they were just hovering over cities, that would happen. China's not going to go, you know what? We're going to dissolve as a country because there's a ship floating over New York City.
No, you'd get too many.
You know what I mean?
Shooting at them and stuff. I mean, it'd just be no way to control it. Hey, everybody, sit tight. Just to see what happens.
So many people would just go out.
No, people in our country would go out with guns and shoot at riot countries. Yeah. But I don't think that if there was a ship floating over New York, if there was a ship floating over New York City, do you really think China would suddenly go, you know what, we're going to give up our borders. We're not going to be a country anymore. We're going to join the U.S.
We'll sell you guys your real estate back, we promise.
I don't think that would be enough. I think an entire city or multiple cities would have to be completely obliterated for the world to go, oh, crap, this is a serious, credible threat. We do have to all work together. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, unfortunately, if Project Bluebeam was a real thing, what's going to happen is before that alien ship arrives, you're going to see entire cities all over the world in multiple countries get completely obliterated by some unknown thing.
Or a very specific thing in those big cities. Like it would show you its power or precision of just, one particular spot in each one. Like the main headquarters of the main place in town, boom.
Mhm.
I'll send you a message and you'll decipher it and it'll say, watch these coordinates, and it will do exactly what it says, something like that. And then if it didn't get what it wanted at that point, the bigger,
Right.
it could be either or.
Yeah.
I'd like to think it's just a rock. It just lucked
Yeah.
its way into our dimension here.
It's
But
not the lizard people.
it would be pretty neat if they pulled up and just said, hey guys, we're actually you, and we left a long time ago.
Oh, that was the other thing.
And
Yeah.
the star maps got destroyed when the pyramid blew up.
Yeah.
And it blew up all the next few stations on all the other planets after that, and we finally got back. And here's the book. We wrote it all out. Here you go.
Let them fly over Texas. We'll take them. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Have you guys seen the SNL skits, the abduction skits? They did like 6 or 7 of them. They're on YouTube. If you put SNL abduction,
Hey, JT.
they're hilariously funny. It's always Kate McKinnon plays like the main. She's the common thread, and it's always like 2 other people, usually the guest host, another actor, and her. And they're always, the government's like questioning them. Tell us about your abduction. They go, well, I was bathed in a warm light, and I was gently moved up to the mothership where I was examined quietly, peacefully.
Yeah.
And then they asked the girl in the end, well, what about you? She said, well, it wasn't quite the same for me. A big claw came down and snatched me out of my kitchen through the kitchen window. I lost my pants. And she always has like the most horrible.
That was when they got Ryan Gosling on there, and she was all over him, had him just dying laughing.
He was one of them. Yeah. But you should watch those. Thank you, JT. Yeah,
she got Meryl Streep to do it with her once.
They did. They played her mother. She played her mother.
I just pulled it up. I forgot about that. Those are hilarious.
She's always talking about somehow her pants come off every time. It's too funny.
Well, like, we saw Skinny Bob. We talked about this 3-Eye Atlas thing. I've got a photo here of this.
Okay.
And now this is one of the what they consider a credible photo of a UFO. And what this was taken from,
that's a dreidel, John.
This is Puerto Rico. And they were doing satellite photography of the coastline. And in the photos, they saw this thing moving through the photos. And this is one of the images that was leaked. And all these photos, there was basically like a geological survey of the coast of Puerto Rico. And then, so it was going to be like an open public survey. Like the study was not designed as something that's classified. But because these photos showed this disc from the satellite photography, the section of photos, the 5 or 6 photos or however many there were that had this disc in it, those ended up becoming classified. Those disappeared from the survey, from the study, and people came in and confiscated them once they found out that this was in there. And the rest of the study went on and did its thing, but they had this gap in the footage along this part of the coastline where this UFO was in it because these guys, the Americans, came in and took it all, confiscated these slides and the negatives. But someone managed to smuggle one out, and they eventually came clean and showed this thing. And people have been recently talking
when I
about
said
it.
Like, some of the stuff looks so fake that it's real, and like this, you could say, well, that doesn't look real, and it could actually be, like you said, the actual photo.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what is that disc? Like, what else could it be? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, it's like, is that some kind of weird cloud formation? Well, there's clouds in the bottom of the photo.
The cloud with a nipple.
And the clouds don't really look that precise,
Right.
And it's sort of like, you'd also like this is only one image. Like, what's the before and after look like?
Yeah.
The image before this and the image after. Like, is it coming in from here? Like, do you see part of it in the one before? and then later on it's moving out. You know what I mean? Like it's over in closer to
about
land.
Think about
you
this
know?
too. Like it's a saucer, right? We look at that and we think flying saucer, right? So if we think back over the last 70 years, 75 years, whatever it's been now of sightings, it's typically the same thing. It's very rarely these orbs and different shapes and this.
Right.
There are a few other things, and like Ricardo just sent me the latest one. It was over Mexico City. It kind of looks like a Star Destroyer from Star Wars and things like that. But the saucer is a very consistent sighting.
Yeah.
So
saucers and triangles seem to be very...
is this a group of beings or being that's close by in our star system? They can somehow cloak. We don't know where they're going, where they're at. Is it our own technology? You know.
Yeah.
It's something to think over the years. Why does it always happen to be similar? You know, so it's just a question that popped up for me.
Well, it's like the look of the grays themselves with the big heads and the eyes. It's been the way they're always not say portrayed or spoken of, so it just becomes the norm. you know? It becomes the
three of us now after 50, we become the grays.
Yeah, trust me.
So,
or the
I try to hide it as best I can, but it doesn't.
Or it's like they're either saucers or they're triangular.
Sure. So like this
craft.
would, to me, from the point of view, would be that it's a big round object. It's bigger than, I'm just seeing the side view of it, you know.
And then this one is from somewhere here in the United States, and a guy was witnessing it flying around his property for like half hour or something.
When was this taken? What year?
These were taken in like the 50s. You know what I mean?
Okay, because I'm still questioning like the resolution.
And
again, you know,
and people in the UFO community like this photo, and they've been talking about it recently because it shows his tree that he was sitting by and the fence to his field. You know what I mean? So it's like it gives you almost like a perspective. And he said it was flying above his field for about a half hour. And then these military jets came in and he captured a photo with the military jet.
That's what that is at the 5 o'clock there. The jet.
Yeah, the jet is flying in. The jets flew past it a few times, you know, and it gives you an idea of scale, of size, and also contrast to what our technology looks like. So if that's a military jet flying by from the time period, and you look at it and go, wow, is this thing about twice as big as a jet? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
it's,
where's the but you
like
can't really tell how far out the jet is.
Yeah, you don't really know. But
you know, the other thing too is we take a lot of these as, you know, it happened in America, it happened in the US, the sightings. Think about it though. Most of these crafts, what's the one thing a lot of people say? It flew so fast when it left. Blink of an eye. This thing was making revolutions around the earth, taking photos or whatever it was doing. This was just 1 second of that trip that somebody caught on film. And there's probably a guy in South America, another guy in Antarctic or whatever, catching the same craft at different moments, you know. It's not all just here. They're not just coming to see us.
Yeah.
I think it's just, we have to look at, like, back up a little bit to get the bigger picture. Is they're going around the whole planet.
Yeah.
Quickly.
This ship
I just
is
wish
the
you could
killer
see
clowns.
a building or even a person on the ground to give it some scale.
Well, if it's going to be in scale to that plane and that plane's not too far away, that's more like 5 or 6 times bigger than that plane.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
You can just take that plane and fit it into that shape 4 or 5 times easily.
That's right, JT. I don't intend to go through that hell again. And that's why Hooper wanted Brody to go to the end of the pulpit. And so
we're going to need a bigger
foreground for
spaceship.
scale. Yeah, well. What's this? Proposed alien people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is true that, like, and if you extrapolate that going back even further, the aliens were the goblins and imps of ancient myth and legend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people call whatever they're seeing by what they only have a reference of.
Right.
Like if you go back to, like, there's a story in ancient myth where someone was in a battle. I think it might have been even like a Alexander the Great It might have been one of the battles he was in. And they said that during the battle, there were shields that flew above the battlefield.
Huh.
They said they looked as if you threw your shield in the air and it flew, but they were massive. They were as big as the battlefield flying overhead.
He couldn't describe it any better than that. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, they didn't have another reference for what they were looking at. So they said it looked like a shield, because that's what they, you know what I mean? So instead of calling them flying saucers,
right,
they would have called them flying shields back then.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But so, and historians go, well, he must have been seeing some cloud formation or something really weird. But it's like, no, that to them, that could be the best way they had to describe an alien spaceship flying through the air. Do you know what I mean? Like, where today we call them flying saucers or UFOs or UAP or drones or whatever, because that's what our frame of reference is. So like what JT's kind of talking about has some merit, because you know what I mean? Like, imagine if you were in the medieval times and you saw a gray alien or a reptilian alien or something, you would just go, I saw a demon or a goblin, or you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't, your frame of reference wouldn't be what we have today and say it's an alien. You would say it's something based on your frame of reference, like it was a puck, it was a goblin, it was a leprechaun. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like.
You got any more photos?
No, that's pretty much what I had. I wanted to see what you guys thought of some of these. If there's one you want me to bring back up, we can bring it back up. But like, just to get a take on, like, it kind of goes all the way back to the whistleblower guys. Like, do you think any of this is credible? Do you think any of this is true? Do you think those photos are of objects that are outside of our solar system, non-human origin objects? There's something from another planet, another world, or there's something from, or was there another, civilization living on Earth that may have taken to the water and now they're hiding underwater and they come out every once in a while and look at us and then they go back under there. You know what I mean? Like,
there has to be a grain of truth in the whistleblowers. Like we said about the example Bob Lazar, Area 51 is real.
Yeah,
there's no question it's not
a real place. Yeah.
So if anything else, if you don't want to go the UFO route, you have no choice. You have to go the Air Force route, and crafts. They're there. It's there. So I can say, without a doubt, we get some credible information from whistleblowers, because sometimes it's the only way. Everything's top secret. It's locked down. There's NDAs. There's it's a part of your duty if you're military and things like that. You could be court-martialed and put in jail and all this other stuff if you talk. So you're always hearing about it later, and you always think, that guy's disgruntled, or he's just trying to get attention. He's just jumping on the bandwagon. But sometimes there's a little piece in all of it that has some truth.
Yeah. Or is it some weird thing about time travel? Like he's saying, there's a depiction of a German bomber.
Man, I tell you,
I definitely siege of Syracuse.
I say it all the time. Like, my big theory on little green men and UFOs is that we had an experimental craft that we built, and it went way faster than it was supposed to, and it broke through a barrier of some sort, and it made a loop. It came back through, and space and time did its damage and aged these guys, and they couldn't even communicate anymore with us, and it was us coming back, and it's completely lost because of what they see. Some experimentation. Let's talk in a different way. We don't want to touch down because they'll hurt us. We have to figure this out.
The Greys could be us in the future.
I have that theory that the Greys are from the future making a loop, and they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but they're us.
Yeah, like that's what we evolve into.
Or the traveling did it to them.
The traveling messed them up. Yeah, that could be too.
It crushed their bodies because of the pressure in space and being out of orbit and everything else. But like Mr. B had said, we're freaks of the universe. They probably fly by and shake their heads. And I can say to that, we say that on my podcast all the time. We're like, we are not made for this world. We are like a turtle out of its shell, Everything can kill us. The sun can kill us. We can get allergies that can kill us. The foods can kill us. Something can sting us. We can drown in the water. We can run out of oxygen in the air. We're not made for this world. We're probably the aliens here.
Yeah.
And we can't get home because whatever happened with the great calamities of the Younger Dryas and other things throughout time, those of us that were left behind survived and were able to kind of rebuild. But it was that some of them were dumb.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't have the information they needed.
Well, it's kind of like like I've said today, if there was another catastrophe that reset, like say like 90% of the people get wiped out in some catastrophe, all the power is gone. There's everything's turned off. No internet, no power, nothing.
Yeah, how many people can give you the info?
How many of us sitting in this room? How many people in the chat could walk into a nuclear power facility and turn the power back on and control that facility to the point where it wouldn't have a meltdown? Do you know what I mean? We might be able to flick the switch, but we're not going to figure out how to keep.
I mean, I work in a coal-powered facility, and there's so much to that I see go on.
Work for Homer Simpson.
How could one person go run all the different things that need to run for that? The water you need. There's so many different things.
I don't think you'd know how to turn the power back on. An ordinary person, I don't think would. And if the only ones who survived are outside major cities and they're out in the boonies, in the middle of nowhere, like the middle of Montana or something, I don't think those people are going to know enough to know how to turn the power back on. So essentially, you're going to have a few, 100 people here and there in various sparse places way out in the middle of nowhere.
If a person was always the educated person that could sort of write out these systems, prescribe it, so to speak, they had no time to learn how to defend themselves, or how to survive, or how to grow a garden or plant food. But then the people that could, and then there could be, hey, we'll help protect you. You give us the knowledge. We only got 1 or 2 guys that can do this. So like 100 miles away, there's 10 other people trying to survive that don't know that's going on. It would just never kind of get to where it needed to go.
It wouldn't take long for society to crumble and turn on itself. I mean, it's like Walking Dead. The zombie apocalypse happens at first. Oh my God, the zombies are the biggest threat. As the thing progressed, they learned how to cope with that. It was the people, the survivors, the little groups, little factions that were the real threat, and that's what would happen. We would be, people just kicking down doors and taking what they wanted, and
people would get back to what they've always done.
It would get chaotic quick. Yeah, for sure.
And like you said, a lot of the smart people who know the technology, but don't know how to survive and like do crops and farm sheep and animals. You know what I mean? They don't even know where their food's coming from in some cases. You know what I mean? They just go to McDonald's and eat, and then that's it. They don't know where it came from or how it got there. You know,
John, if you're looking for facts, though, JT just dropped a fact for you in the chat.
What's that?
Put that up on the.
I said, if you're looking for factual evidence, right there it is.
That's entirely inhabited by robots. That is true. Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
The biggest threat is humanity itself.
Yeah, that's right.
Always, Ricardo. Always.
Yeah.
The scariest thing in the deep woods is another person. Yeah. That's how it would definitely be.
I guess that's what I say about aliens is we're in this forest looking for them, and then coming right back at us is one of us. And you go, wait a minute, how'd you get out here?
Yeah.
Speaking of
some
aliens,
things we'll never know.
Did you guys talk about what do you think? Did you watch the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth? And
not yet. I'm going to binge it this weekend.
I loved it. Yeah,
I'm hearing
it's
good.
Yeah. I look forward to the next one. I got to run across the street and get some stuff to make dinner, but I'm gonna make some.
I've actually got to go.
Alien cakes.
Dinner rolling too. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some steak and make some steak tacos for dinner.
And some alien cupcakes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go outside and wait for my next abduction. Just to wait for it.
Sit in a lawn chair with a sign. Take me now.
I'm ready. Whatever. Come on.
That's funny.
You can have the congestive heart failure and the colon cancer. You can have it all.
Where is Alien Earth playing at?
Is that a Netflix show?
It's on.
No, it's Disney Plus Hulu.
Yeah,
It's
it's
Hulu,
on
isn't it?
Hulu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Hulu.
on FX tonight. I think at 8 o'clock, 9
Yeah,
o'clock.
that's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Disney Plus, Hulu.
yeah. The first 2 episodes were like
FX.
90 minutes, and then it's back to an hour. I think for the next 8. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Gary wants to be probed.
Well, it wouldn't be
It's
the
not
worst.
even Friday, Gary. Calm
Wouldn't be
down.
the worst Tuesday I've ever had, Mr. B.
Yeah. Well, guys, any closing thoughts on this topic? What do you think about the whistleblowers? Any of the photos or video we showed, or 3i Atlas? Like, what's your final thoughts on any of those topics before we sign off today?
I want it all to be real. I want it to be real. But again, I want ET. I don't want Independence Day. I don't want Mars Attacks. I don't want guys running around map. I think the government's quiet because they have to be, and they're just trying to keep us all calm, because I think everyone would lose their shits if they found out there was something really going on, So
What about, I don't know, was it earlier this year or end of last year? We were getting all this stuff about UAPs and drones.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
that was a early test for this?
Seeing how people would react. Yeah.
That, or there's something to do with technology that we have that, I'm sure there's technology we have that the normal people don't know.
They haven't
It's
shared.
out there.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah,
This
of
may be
course
an
there
early
is, yeah.
detection system of some sort, if nothing else. Because, like I said, what good is anything going to do us? Any conventional weapons aren't going to help us here.
That's exactly right.
Nothing.
Right.
But an early detection would help senators, would help governors, would help presidents, would help, people in those seats of power to get into their bunkers and things like that.
Yeah, and we
Early
can sit on the roof
detection.
and
Exactly. So, like, I'm like
Wait.
Gary, I want it to be true, and I would want it to be whatever it is, whomever it is, whatever they look like, that it was something we could learn from or exchange information. Because nothing's to say. I mean, we're obviously smart enough to figure out that traveling in space takes a long time to get places, and we don't necessarily have the power to do it. You have to have some sort of long sustaining power source. And maybe that's something we could learn or get gifted.
Yeah.
Because that's a problem for us
in exchange for more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need some meat puppets, and we'll give you guys this everlasting gobstopper that will run.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But it could be neat it would be neat to just to have an exchange of information and just they're moving on their journey or whatever. But I don't know. I guess the cynical side of me says, yeah, it's probably just a rock. But the hopeful side is, like Gary said, it'd be cool if it was someone else out there, and we could just have that moment where we go, cool, this is awesome. We're not alone. We have an answer.
Right.
Just that's the biggest one. We're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said earlier too, and I think I agree with you guys. I want it to be true, but I think 3i Atlas is going to end up just being a rock.
Yeah.
Big rock, but I do want it to be an alien ship. I think that would be so.
But there may be mysteries in that rock that we can get some information from too. Like where it came from could be the result of planets colliding, the result of a black hole spitting something back out. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's still going to be.
We're definitely going to learn something from this thing as it passes
that's my
by.
point.
Definitely, yeah. But we'll have to
Stay
see
tuned.
what that is. Yeah. And as far as the government having technology, I kind of want that part to be true too, because I think it'd be cool to know that Roswell was real and that we are actually reverse engineering ships. And
and if we're not reverse engineering, we're engineering. We're doing something.
With that stuff. Yeah.
So we got an early detection system, at least, like I said, sort of an umbrella over us that says, okay, get these guys back into their places we need them to hide or whatever,
Yeah.
Well, cool. This was fun, John.
Yeah.
Brett, Gary, thanks for joining me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us and talking aliens. We'll talk again soon. I want to try to get on board with these more often and do them at least every other week or something. So
all right. Cool.
We'll hopefully be back soon on a different topic. All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
everybody. See you guys later.
You guys.
Ending stream.